Hello everyone and welcome to another Endgame episode with Coach B and MasterChess.com. In this video we're going to go over the Vancura Defense, which involves a rook pawn on the 6th rank when both players have a rook. This position was considered a win for white for a long time. Even the best chess players in the world were sure about this assessment, until a player named Vancura found an astonishing defense resource in 1924. So let's take a look to see why is it so challenging to defend this position if you're not familiar with the Vancura Defense. Well, first of all, if the king crosses the f-file, let's say he's going to go to e7 going towards the pawn, this position is immediately lost. After pawn to a7, white is winning. If you've seen my video series of rook and pawn on the 7th rank versus rook, you're probably familiar with this position. Here, after king to d7, rook to h8, if black takes the pawn, after rook to h7 check, the king has to move away and then the rook gets captured and white wins the game. Therefore, coming back, black wants to stay on the squares g7 or h7. So here he's going to move the king to g7, just because if white pushes the pawn to the 7th rank here, this is a known draw also covered in the same video series. But after king to g7, white does not want to push the pawn. What he wants to do is get the king to the a7 square, then the rook could come out and then the pawn promotes. If black is not familiar with the Vancura Defense, he's going to have a hard time preventing white from doing that. After king to f3, if black is just going to wait thinking that he's going to be able to cut off the white king from reaching the a7 square, well, he's going to be in for a surprise because he's not going to be able to successfully do that. After something like king to h7, king to e4, if black moves the rook to a5, not allowing the white king to reach past the 5th rank, well, after king to d4, king to g7, king to c4, king to h7, king to b4, the rook is attacked and will have to retreat. After rook to a1 and king to b5, even after rook to b1 and king to c6, black is not going to be able to prevent white from reaching the a7 square. Right now, the black rook cut off the white king via the b file. However, after rook to b2, king to c7, rook to b1, and rook to b8, white challenges the b file and now the black rook needs to move. After rook to a1, king will go to b7, rook to a2, king to a7, rook to a1, white will move the rook to b7 check, king to g8, rook to b6 defending the pawn, and after king to g7 the white king can come out and now the pawn will simply be able to march forward and there's nothing that black can do. He will have to sacrifice the rook. White will take the rook and win the game from here. Coming back from the very beginning, another try that black has is rook to a3, trying to cut off the white king from the 3rd rank. But even this is unsuccessful because the king will slowly move towards the rook, and after the king will reach the rook will have to move away, let's say rook to a5, the king will march towards the rook will have to retreat, and now we kind of reach the same position. After rook to b1 cutting off the white king, he's simply going to go towards the square c7, where he's going to challenge the rook, and now the game will be lost. After rook to c1 check, the king will simply march towards the a7 square, allowing the white rook to come out, and then there's nothing that black can do to prevent the pawn from marching forward, and then white will win the game. So coming back from the very beginning, let's take a look to see how we can defend this position using the Vancura Defense. So after king to g7, there's only two possibilities that white has here, is moving the king to f3 or moving the king to f2. If the king moves to f3, well, here what we need to do is come with the rook to f1, giving a check, and after the king moves away, we're going to use the rook to go to the 6th rank where we still attack the pawn. And now all that black needs to do is keep the rook on the 6th rank, but he wants to make sure when the white king reaches the square b5 defending his pawn, he needs to be able to start a series of checks from the side as the white king will not find any shelter. If he fails to be able to keep checking the king, white will simply get the rook out and be able to win the game. So let's go through this process. After king to d5, we're going to move the rook to b6. After king to c5, we're going to move the rook to f6. If the king moves to b5, now we will be able to start a series of checks from the side. Rook to f5 check. After king to b6, rook to f6 check. King to a7, rook to f7 check. King to b6, rook to f6 check. King to c5, rook to f5, and white cannot make any progress. Coming back, after king to c5, we saw that the correct response was rook to f6. Now if the rook moves to g6, this would be a terrible mistake as black will not be able to start a series of checks. He's only going to be able to check the white king on the 5th and 6th rank only, and he's not going to be able to hold on to this position. After king to b5, rook to g5 check, king to b6, rook to g6 check, but after king to b7, the black rook was not able to check the white king anymore as his king is in the way. So after rook to f6, white has the tempo that he needs to get his rook out, so he's going to move the rook to c8. After rook to f7, this game is over. After rook to c5, white shelters from the checks, and now black is forced to take the rook. After white captures back, there's nothing that will prevent him from pushing the pawn and winning the game. Coming back from the beginning, after king to g7, we looked at king to f3, rook to f1 check, the king moved over, and then the rook came on the 6th rank. Well, if here the white king is not going to step on f3, allowing black to check him on the f1, if instead he's going to go to f2, not allowing the black rook to check him on f1 and reaching the 6th rank. Well, in this case, we could still reach the Vancura defense, moving the rook to a5. And now after king to e3, the black rook will come to e5, checking the white king, king to d4, and then rook to e6, reaching the 6th rank as before. And the same play will happen after king to c5, rook to f6. And as soon as the white king touches the pawn, we're going to start a series of checks, and there's nothing that white can do to get out of those checks as he cannot find any shelter. If he moves the king to d5, clearing the 6th rank, we're simply going to move the rook to b6. After king to c5 and rook to f6, this position repeats and black has reached a draw. The Philidor defense can be used when the defending king is able to reach the 3x3 square on the opposite side of the pawn, and when the opposing king is on any of the highlighted squares. But from my experience, you will not be able to remember these weird diagrams, and the best is to understand the drawing idea and use it when it can be achieved. And next we're going to look at the positions that are a little bit more challenging, where black cannot check the white king to reach the 6th rank. So in this next position, it's black to move, and we can see that black here cannot check the white king to reach the 6th rank. If he retreats the rook to a1, he's going to lose this game. After king to d5, rook to d1 check, the king will move to c6, and black cannot reach the 6th rank. After something like rook to f1, rook to a7 check, the king will go to g8, rook to c7, and black is lost. I'm just going to fast forward to the moves to see how white is going to win. And here black will have to sacrifice the rook, losing the game. And coming back, after rook to a1, king to d5, we looked at rook to d1 check. If here black tries rook to f1, this is not going to work either. After rook to a7, king to g8, rook to c7, there's nothing that black can do. Starting a series of check with rook to f5 will not work, because after king to c6, rook to f6, king to b7, black is totally lost. And I'm just going to fast forward to see the end of the game. And here black loses the game. And coming back from the very beginning, here black can still draw this game. If his king is on g7 or h7, black needs to move the rook to b5. And now there's only two ways that white can play this game, is moving the king towards the rook to chase it away, or moving the rook to a7 to check the king. If he moves the king to d4 going after the rook, well, now after rook to b6, black has reached the 6th rank. After king to c5, the rook will simply go to f6, and now the Vancura position has been reached. Coming back after rook to b5, the best try that white has here is rook to a7 check. Here, black has to be super careful. He cannot step on the f file. If he does that, he's going to lose the game. The correct response here is king to g6. And now black is threatening moving the rook to b6, reaching the 6th rank. So here, white will respond with rook to b7. After this, black will move the rook to a5. Moving the rook to a7 will simply be met with rook to b5, repeating the position. So white has to try something different. Here, he's going to push the pawn to a7. And now this completely changes the position, as the pawn is on the 7th rank, not on the 6th rank anymore. From here, all black needs to do is go with the king to f6 towards white's rook. It's simply a race. The white king will attack black's rook in 3 moves, and the black king will attack white's rook in 3 moves. Here, since white has the move, what's going to happen is he's going to attack the black rook first, but then right after that, black will attack white's rook. So if we continue with king to d4, king to e6, king to c4, king to d6. White attacks black's rook first, but then on the next move, the black king will attack white's rook, reaching a draw. If white takes the rook on a5, black will take the rook on a7, and then a draw has been achieved. Coming back to this position, there's really nothing that white can do. Moving the rook to b8 will simply be met with rook takes a7, and black reached a draw. So coming back after pawn to a7 and king to f6, the best try that white has is rook to h7. Here, black has to be super careful. He cannot move the king to e6 as that will lose the game. If here he moves the king to e6, after rook to h6 check, king to d7, the rook will go to h8, and now white wins the game. If black takes the rook on a7, after rook to h7 check, the rook is lost and white wins the game. And coming back, if black doesn't take the rook, let's say he moves the king to c7, well, he's going to lose immediately after white promotes, and black will have to sacrifice the rook. So again, coming back after king to f6 and rook to h7, black needs to attack the rook again. So the correct move is king to g6. And now white will have to retreat the rook to b7. And after king to f6, the same play will happen where white will attack black's rook and black will attack white's rook, reaching a draw this way. And coming back at the very beginning, we saw after rook to a7, here black had to respond with king to g6. You might be wondering what happens if the king goes to f6, why is this a loss? So I'm going to go over this position as well. I'm just going to fast forward through the moves so you could see the correct play. So as we've seen in this video, black can still achieve a draw, even if the king cannot be checked to reach the 6th rank, simply moving the rook to b5 and then trying to go to the 6th rank. As long as the king is on g7 or h7, he's going to be able to achieve a draw. If the white king cannot be cut off behind the pawn and he's already reached the 6th rank, well, black will lose this game. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. I encourage you to visit my website, masterchess.com, where you can practice these positions against the computer. If you liked my video, please subscribe and don't forget to check out my new website, masteryourchess.com, where you can learn, practice, test, and master your chess knowledge.